Given their invisibility, how do you go about conducting effective research into older women affected by domestic and family violence? In this video, we would like to share our top 10 tips. I'm Lana.
I'm Carolyn, and together we have been researching older women affected by domestic and family violence at Flinders University in South Australia. We have found older women to be in great need and under-researched, so it is wonderful that you are interested in researching this area too.
We have found an action research approach to be ideal for our work, but you may be using another framework or methodology. Nonetheless, we hope you find these suggestions useful. Let's get started.
Firstly, don't work alone. There are benefits for both researchers and service providers if working collaboratively, as each can learn from the other. An action research approach, guided by a plan, do, study, act model, can facilitate this kind of collaboration. Similarly, consult broadly. Like us, you may find that there is widespread community and service provider interest in better supporting older women that you can tap into. If you are able to network with other researchers, we encourage you to do so and not waddle along alone. We ourselves joined a national community of practice and learnt so much from others.
Secondly, just like a river, start small and build on little successes. When we first started our project, we had really big ambitions, but our partners warned against including everyone at the beginning. We took their advice and started by targeting a small group of key stakeholders and slowly bringing other people into the project.
Thirdly, while your progress need not be as slow as a snail, do remember that relationship building and system change can occur slowly. To facilitate this, we found it helpful to provide sufficient time for informal networking and the sharing of information and resources at meetings. Also, we did not rush building rapport and relationships with older women prior to interviewing them. This bridge building enabled women to feel more comfortable to candidly share experiences once the interview formally started and the recorder was switched on.
Our fourth tip is about communication. All researchers need to be very good communicators with stakeholders and more widely. Be open and flexible. Ask questions. Be friendly and available. You never know where opportunities may lead.
One of the issues for our project, and it may be for yours too, has been recruiting older women participants. Finding Aboriginal and called older women was even harder. Older women tend to be a hidden group who may not be willing to be identified or currently using any services.
Thus, traditional recruitment methods were not very effective. We found that word of mouth was often better. Discreetly ask around. Family, friends or neighbours may personally know of a woman and be willing to pass on information about your study. Our sixth tip, which may be a little controversial, relates to showing empathy when interviewing vulnerable women. Usually the researchers' responses are meant to be fairly neutral, but we found it very hard not to respond humanely to the traumatic stories we were hearing.
We found saying things like, "That's appalling," or "We are sorry you went through this," encouraged further disclosure and lessened the impact afterwards on the interviewer and woman.
Number 7. In this sort of research there can be a domino effect, so you should be mindful of unintended consequences. Little things can matter. For example, we have found that even wording is important. Think about using terms other than domestic violence in materials, as it can be off-putting and may prevent women from coming forward. Our 8th tip relates to something that surprised us. During our investigations, we found that many older women want to help other older women in similar circumstances, but don't know how to do this outside of their own friendship groups. So we suggest that you consider how you may be able to provide opportunities for women to be involved. This may be by enabling women to share their stories or creating a support group.
Number 9 is to consider moving away from traditional notions of data and data analysis. Perhaps think a little outside the box. In action research, what is considered data is much broader than in traditional research approaches. For example, data can be sourced from meetings, secondary sources, reflections, and so on. These other data sources can greatly enrich your findings.
Finally, we would like to mention how important it is to take care of yourself and everyone else involved. Vicarious trauma is real and can happen to anyone. Conducting research can be a serious process, but you can also have fun along the way. For example, at one workshop, we had some colouring in sheets available for participants.
So there they are, our top 10 tips. Form a team, start small, allow time, communicate, consider your recruitment methods, be empathetic, act mindfully. If you can, enable older women to connect with each other, think outside the usual notions of data and data analysis, and take care to minimise vicarious trauma.
Finally, even if you're not directly involved in research, you may still be able to help older women affected by domestic and family violence in your everyday practice. From our work, 3 changes that we could suggest to clinicians or service providers would be to, number 1, be more mindful of older women and their needs. For example, are messages about domestic violence and support services inclusive of older women? Number 2, develop networks and collaborations to support your work with older women. For example, who else could you work with to improve services to older women? Number 3, advocate for older women whenever you can, because as a group, these women are under-recognised and under-resourced.
We hope you find these suggestions useful. We invite you to get in touch with us if you would like to talk more about this or share your research with us. You are also welcome to share this video with other researchers. Together we can make a difference in the lives of older women.